also playing for a local. They just make this big message everywhere they walk. Leaving wherever. Running over the people in the street. Shooting at them. Why have to look like that? Oh, no. No, worse than my...
Fresh round, make way. Arthur, Natalie, what are we toasting to this time?
Come on. As if you're not just going to toast yourself again.
Good idea. To the newest member of the UC London rowing team.
Your plot for Olympic domination has only just begun.
Remember this moment, you two. You'll be telling your children about the night you got pissed with a future gold medalist.
Whatever you say, Bagley.
Mate, don't call me that. That's not my name.
Rowing, I see. Oh, that's not too bad as sports go. It's almost a science. Lots of physics involved.
Coming up in today's episode of The Upload, we're talking about how Bagley managed to conquer London. Pretty much my favourite topic. I could talk for hours about the rise of the AI system. It's easy to forget about its origins. It's so present everywhere we go now. Bagley just kind of blends into the background.
Bagley is the service AI that's present in every optic device. Whether you're using the optic, Bagley will be there. The AI is streamed to your optic from Bloom Central Command Center, and it was first created by Sky Larson, our tech hero, as part of her techno-utopian idea for the world. Why do you think it grew so quickly?
In my mind, it's no surprise that Bagley became so popular. It's funny, useful, fast. It's a great companion and really just makes life so much easier. I mean, when you look back at all the service AIs that used to exist, they just can't compete. When you ask Bagley anything, there's a quick answer and loads of information available to you. One day, I let Bagley answer all of my messages for a whole 24 hours and no one even noticed the difference.
The other competitor...
Be calm. Pretend I'm an old friend. People may be watching.
Oh, I get it. You're DedSec. I've got some info for you.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
What's got more packages in a parcel Fox warehouse? Me and my co-workers, because we all just got severance. 300 people all at once. Fired. Said we were being replaced.
That's just terrible.
I'm doing all right, but the whole thing was just super shitty, you know? Cloak and Dagger. We were all video game developers. There's no way they could have replaced all of us that fast. Well, maybe, but probably not without doing something dodgy.
Okay, so you want DedSec to find out who replaced you, yes?
Exactly. If you help me out with this, I'll owe you one. A big one.
A tech corporation acting unethically? Sounds out of character, but let's investigate anyway.
I'll check it.
Really just couldn't compete with Bagley. Their answers were so much worse. They didn't understand anything, and Bagley pretty much gets everything right first time. Do you have any idea why Bagley really needs all the competition?
Well, it's really the data, isn't it? Ever since Broker hooked up with Bloom, that's when things changed.
And really, that's not actually that great. Bloom has data on everybody. They collect information about everything you're doing across the web through your optic headset. Isn't the AI only good because of Bloom's surveillance?
Well, I suppose so, but I prefer not to talk about that side of things. Bagley is so special because it's been trained on this huge cache of information. That's how these AI systems work, or at least used to work. I mean, we don't really know that much about the latest version because there's so much secrecy around the tech. But they're given this huge amount of training data. It's basically a huge database that's used to teach the AI about patterns in behavior. You know, so if you always travel the same way to your house, it can predict when you're going to go and get a self-driving car ready for you before you even ask for it.
That's pretty terrifying. In some ways, I don't want this data. Some of the rumours around the hacked version of Bagley?
I've heard mutterings, yes.
I've heard it's been used by DedSec.
I wouldn't put it past them. It's pretty well known that they're not fans of Bloom. But the idea of a souped-up version of Bagley, given it's already so intelligent, is a bit terrifying.
I wonder what they could actually make it do.
This is London Calling. You're listening to Buccaneer, your pirate podcast source for what they don't want. I'm Tash, and this time we're giving a special shout out from us to the boys and girls at the Signal and Intelligence Response Service. Better know. Why not? They're going to
All
be listening.
units, I say again, all units, we have reports of a hostile in your area. Moving to intercept.
Bad about a massive, unaccountable spy organization that uses its powers to stifle dissent and shut down free speech. Instead, we're going to look
No
how
sign of a
SIRS
target.
became
Over.
so powerful. And as usual, we'll keep everyone's names and locations secret, so SIRS doesn't come looking for them. Ian was a veteran political writer and podcaster back in the days of pre-crisis Britain.
No visual of target. Ending pursuit. Over.
Auto drive. Downstable.
Is the world we're living in now fascist? Well, this is what fascism is. It is the complete and total control of the individual. The desire to basically say to the individual, nothing in your life matters. On an individual basis, you are now part of the whole, part of the nation. And the only meaning that you will find in your life is to become part of the nation. What is a nation? A nation doesn't mean anything, right? The nation is basically just encapsulated by the leader that takes over, that claims that he, has this sort of access to the soul of the country, to the soul of the people. He never does, it's just a myth. But that's what they go for. And on that basis, they take the right to control every aspect of your life, from who you talk to where you eat, to where you go to hang out with your friends. And what we're seeing now is a contemporary iteration of this process where you get corporations and the state operating in tandem. Basically molded into one. That isn't that rare. It's exactly the same thing in Nazi Germany. You look at the concentration camps that operated in Nazi Germany, there were private...
You've arrived at our contact's former employer, and aside from some heavily armed security guards, it's basically a ghost town.
Interesting.
I don't think this replacement is on site. Dig around and see if you can figure out where they are. You can do your corporate espionage from there.
I'm sending you the data.
Copy that. I'll analyze the company records while you get to safety.
Bagley, what do we have?
Well, I found our prospect's replacement. It's an AI. And not one of those fancy AIs you get by killing your mum and sticking her brain in the thermostat. This one's about as low-end as you can get. It could maybe replace a few million humans at most.
Fuck.
Oh, right. I suppose from your perspective, that's a lot. If you like, we can go destroy it before it puts anyone else out of work.
Okay. Send me this location.
Data manipulation company in order to overthrow governments, and then suddenly all the chickens came home to roost. Nobody could find receipts for
Auto drive now available.
Nobody could figure out how things were done, but everybody had a feeling that something really stunk, and they couldn't figure it out. And yet, it was standing there in their face the whole time. There's a couple of different ways that we got where it is that we are. I mean, one,
Auto drive now disabled.
Smaller organizations, smaller power groups, companies as well, who are bending things just a little. Oh, we'll compromise a little bit, we'll bend the rules a little bit, and try to achieve what it is that we hope to achieve that's good for us. And if you add all of that up, what you end up with is a big wall moving in a big way, from a lot of little buttons being pushed. But also there's this other thing that's going on here, is the gathering of data and the analysis of data has authoritarianism contained within its DNA. It is by its nature a tool for authoritarianism, and it has been used in that way.
How does big data look into our lives? James plugged it in for the pre-crisis price.
We're starting to see the merger of private data and that with data held by the state into what are called social credit.
The job-killing AI's code blueprint has been packed up into a crate on site.
Now it is time for violence.
Is that even legal?
There it is. Time to do your destroying other people's property thing.
this crate?
Because it's worth a lot of money. That's why. Get back to work, okay?
That's it.
Over there. Look around. No stone unturned.
We got shots fired!
Need some help over here.
Another artificial intelligence cast into the Phantom Black void of oblivion, never again to think or feel or be. We're getting pretty good at that.
Thank you, Bagley.
Now get to safety and I'll send our friend the good news.
All units, possible suspect or suspects reported near your location.
In pursuit. I repeat, we are in pursuit. Control, we have an officer down. Control, I've lost sight of the target. Over.
Okay, so the one who replaced you, it is AI. Can you believe it, huh? They make AI do everything now.
No way. Really?
The AI people were going to replace everyone who does your job. At least they were before DedSec smashed their stupid computer.
Cheers.
You seem tough, like a fighter. We like this in DedSec. You want to join?
Yeah, all right. Fuck it.
We could live without the fresh food. I mean, everyone's quality of life got instantly worse, but we could live without it. The most damaging part was when the radioactive...
Eyes on the suspect. They're on foot. Over at your location.
Control, we are pursuing the target.
used to save hundreds of thousands of lives just by screening for cancer, let alone testing for cancer. But that stuff has a half-life of 66 hours. As soon as those walls went up, there was just no time to bring it into the country, and that is when people started dying. And then the medicines. The thing is, there's loads of medicines that you just can't stockpile. There was a moment before it took place when actually there was some effort to try and stockpile some of the medicines. There was some things that could be
Auto-drive
done.
now
For a
enabled.
lot of it, there was simply nothing that could be done. We had a major problem with drugs for schizophrenia.
Auto-drive
So
now
also such an
disabled.
uptick in the kind of attacks that you saw in the street and people suffering on their own because they didn't have the mental health drugs, because those drugs simply couldn't be stockpiled. We eventually found the same thing with foods that weren't produced in the UK. And the trouble with the UK was we don't produce our own food. We never have. For hundreds of years, we produced under half of our own food. So as soon as those walls went up, we started having significant material problems in the country. I mean, Britain always told itself they had this national myth, right, that because it got through the war, that it could go through any kind of hardship.
Auto-drive
that
now
wasn't really
enabled.
the case. Actually, people during the war were far more frightened than... Some of this historical stuff makes out. Now, see. People
Auto drive now disabled.
They were desperate for the things that they had before, and they were scared. So they went to the black market. The same thing that always happens. And where did the growth of Clan Kelly come from? It came from people wanting the things that they could previously get legitimately and could now only get through the black market, funneling funds towards criminality. And from there, we got to the situation we have now of this basic war between criminals and security that seems to dominate what's going on out there on the streets.
Nothing shakes people's faith in capitalism quite as much as when capitalism fails to deliver. Here's underground writer and analyst Alfie, the politics.
How many times has Alfie stopped you for an ID check when you're out and about? This isn't even our...
Hold on.
Running society in this way, that people will have enough. And now, with this kind of huge shortages of everything, you're seeing that system collapse. It hasn't delivered on its primary promise. And I think we've really reached a situation where we have to do away with capitalism entirely. We're seeing a situation where there's shortages for the many, but for a few individuals, there's an elite who are not struggling and short of anything. So this is kind of fundamental inequality of a capitalist system, which is no longer producing the goods for most of us. Shortages are being used as well. I'm not saying that there isn't a real shortage. There possibly is real shortages, but shortages are being used as an excuse for those in power, those elites, to keep what they want and not give to the rest of us what we need. So the excuse that there's simply not enough to go around is a justification for maintaining a kind of power of the 1% and leaving the rest of us short.
So if you're starving hungry tonight, if your parents can't get medicine and your brothers and sisters have to steal to eat, remember, it's all for the good of Albion. Or Clan Kelly. Or someone. Just not us. But that's going to change. You've been listening to Buccaneer with me, Tash. Keep spreading the word and keep sharing the podcast. There's enough of everything out there for all of us. We just need the guts to take it back.
You're in. Now find the thing.
I see your gun. You don't move.
You better watch out.
where it is, you can hack in from there.
Why are you doing this?
Transfer complete.
Doing a sweep of the premises. There's no sign of them. Send a description with the report. Hostile target.
Weaker than the British pound. I feel like hope is an expensive thing to buy these days.
Right. I mean, is it all totally pointless? I mean, it can feel pointless, but then again, I've spent almost all of my life doing pointless things like watching